Now that we have got a fair idea of what is Python and how do we use the Python REPL, let's have a look into how do we write Python scripts, which are nothing but Python programs stored in a file and execute the same thing. Obviously, we have to type the code in some editors. There are many editors that are available specifically meant for Python, such as PyCharm. We call it as IDE or Integrated Development Environment. But for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to use a very popular text editor called Visual Studio Code. And this is from Microsoft. It is free and open source. You can download it and install the same. In my case, I've already got this. Once again, you can use any other text editors. For example, if you're using Microsoft Windows, you can use Notepad or Notepad++, whichever is convenient for you. We will be using this editor only for typing the code, but for executing, we will still execute that from the command prompt. So let me open Visual Studio Code. And it comes with this welcome dialog box in case if you're opening it for the first time. You also have an option here called open folder that's coming from this files icon or explorer icon. When you click on that, it will associate a folder with your Visual Studio. So I'm going to go to my desktop and create a folder for this Python demonstrations. So I'm going to create a new folder, call it as Python examples, and then say open. Now I'll be able to create new files from here. Let's say we create a file called ex01.py. The file extension .py is optional, but with this kind of editors, because the extension is .py, we will be getting some kind of IntelliSense over here. So let's write a script that accepts a name from the user and then displays a greeting message. For this, I can say name equals to input, and then I can say enter your name. And then at the end, I can press enter. Now I want to print in a message, something like, hello Vinod, how are you today? So to do that, I can say print, and then I type here, hello, and now I need to include the name. I can put a comma here and then say name, and then I can put another string and then say, how are you today? So this file is now ready for execution. I save this. Now I have to go back to a command prompt. So I'll open a new command prompt. Make sure that I have to get into my folder where I have kept this. If you remember, I created that in my desktop. So I'll go to CD desktop, Python examples. You can see that I have this file called ex01.py. Now to run the same, I have to just type Python 3 followed by ex01.py. I can press enter and it will ask you enter your name. So the code is being interpreted now. So the line number 1 says input, enter your name. So I'll enter Vinod and press enter. When I press enter, it's going to continue with the second line. And the second line says print hello name, how are you today? And name will now have this Vinod. So it's going to say hello Vinod, how are you today? Let's go back to the code and do some more work over here. As you can see that I've given here hello, a comma, another expression, and another string here. So there are 3 parameters I supplied to this print function. This means that I can supply as many parameters as I want for the print function. Now suppose I don't want this code to be executed. I want to write one more print statement, but I don't want to delete this either because I want to use it as a reference. What we can do is we can start this line with a hash symbol or pound symbol, and the entire line is now called comment or a code comment, which means the interpreter will skip this one. Using this text editor, you can use a control slash on Windows, command slash on Mac to toggle between this comment. Now I press enter. I want to type the print message in a different way. The print can be used with something like this. Hello %s, and then I can say how are you today. So as you can see that I'm using a special character here %s, which is called format specifier, and this print function can replace these percentage symbols or %s format specifiers with whatever that I give here. And the way you can give is you have to give one percentage symbol and then what is the variable that you want to substitute over there. So I can say here name, because name is the one that contains the user input data. So whatever this percentage s is there, that will now be replaced with this name. So I'm going to save this, go back to the command prompt, type the same command once again, python 3 ex01.py, press enter. It's going to ask me what's the name, and this time you can see it's going to say hello Vinod with a comma and then says how are you today. Let's go back to the code, do some more. Suppose I have to accept enter your city along with the name. So I'm going to come back here and say city equals to input, enter your city, and now I'm accepting two values from the user. Obviously I want to print or make use of both name and city in my message, so I'm going to comment this out, and this time I want to print something like this: hello percentage s, which is for name. I can say how is weather in your city, which is another percentage s. Now you see I have two percentage s symbols here, which means I have to supply two values. And if you simply give name comma city like this, you may run into errors. Let's go and check this out. I go back to the command prompt, run the same command once again. It says what's your name? I'll say Vinod. What's your city? Bangalore. And now you can see we got an error. It says not enough arguments for the format string. So it assumes that you have supplied only one because it will take only up to here, and then it will assume that this is totally a different expression that you want to print. All you have to do is to group them together by using a bracket, and now the problem is solved. So now the entire string here will now be substituted with this name and city wherever percentage s is there. I save this, go back, and then run the code once again. I'll say my name is Vinod and my city is Bangalore. Press enter and you can see it says hello Vinod, how's weather in Bangalore. There is also another way of printing formatted text, and this time with the help of a function in the string class or the str class. And the way we can do that is by going and printing here a string hello and then a pair of curly brackets, and then I say how is weather in another curly bracket, probably a question mark just for the sake of printing question mark. But these two curly brackets have to be substituted with name and city. This being a string object or an str object, this object can be used with a function called format, which takes the values for these format specifiers, which are curly brackets. So I can say here name comma city. So once again, this time we are using a function of the string which is format, which takes the parameters given here and will substitute in this curly brackets and then returns a new string. So for example, I can take this and then I say MSG, where MSG equals to this entire expression. So basically we have a string object over here, and the string object dot format we are calling. The format will take these two variables name and city and substitutes in this and then returns the entire formatted text. And the formatted text is what we are actually trying to print in the line number 8. Let me save this, go back to the command line, clear this here, and then run the command once again. It says enter your name, I say Vinod, enter your city, I say Bangalore. I still get the same effect. Hello Vinod, how is weather in Bangalore? So this is how you create a script file and then execute that. So essentially a script file consists of multiple lines of Python code, and then you execute or interpret one by one. So the interpretation always start from line number 1, line number 2. These are called comments. They are ignored by the interpreter. And then you have the line number 3 and then line number 4. And when there is no more lines to execute, the script has been executed completely or successfully.